Yep, we are live. Okay, hello all. Welcome to another special session of our hackathon. Before going further into the session, let me give a quick intro about Vitto. Vitto was the developer at Alchemy, the biggest Web3 node provider platform. Also, he's a speaker,
I
content
still can't hear
creator,
you.
and
Is
more.
it okay?
More. Let's hear more from Vitto himself. Hey Vitto, welcome to our special
Hey,
session. How are you doing?
how's it going? All good. I'm sorry, like for the first 10 seconds I couldn't hear you, but now I'm on board. All good. How about you, Siva? Thank you for having me today.
Yep. So, for the people who don't know anything about you, how would you explain what you do in the world of Web3?
So I'm a developer advocate at Alchemy. For those that don't know Alchemy, Alchemy is a Web3 developer platform. So we have on one hand node providers. So we have a bunch of nodes. You know that if you want to create your decentralized application, you need nodes, and you have the possibility to create your own nodes, or as the cloud like servers, you can rent these nodes. And Alchemy has these nodes and offers scalability solutions. And on top of that, we built a bunch of APIs that allow you to query the blockchain with ease. My job itself, my daily job is more about making developers' life easier, and this is done through an immeasurable amount of things. So we have documentation, we have content, we have workshops like this one, and speeches. We have new developer tools or just community growing and creation. For example, recently we launched Alchemy University. That is one attempt to make developer life easier by onboarding them with high quality courses completely for free.
You do a lot of stuff, right? You post content on Twitter, LinkedIn, you create content on YouTube. How do you balance your time?
This is a great question. I have a bunch of to-do lists. So I think this is an ongoing research. It's definitely a lot of work. What I usually do is try to split my time evenly between the different things that I need to do. So when I wake up in the morning, I open my to-do list, I add all the things that I need to do during the day, and then I reorder them based on the actually effort that needs to go into these things, into these tasks, and then I try to hammer down one by one. It's a process. Again, you need to get used to it. I didn't start all together, right? It's not that one day I woke up and I was like, oh, starting from today, I'm gonna do Twitter, LinkedIn, create content on my blog, and so on and so forth. I think it's been like a 2 years process where I started with Twitter, and then slowly moved towards LinkedIn, creating my content on my blog, writing newsletters, and of course, working full time at Alchemy.
What is your take on Web3?
My take on Web3 in which way?
In a wholesome way. Like there is a huge euphoria around the Web3, like crypto and NFT. What is your
Mhm.
take on that?
So I think first of all, we need to differentiate Web3 as builders and Web3 as cryptos and NFTs. Even if in some way they're really tied up, they're not fully tied up, right? So let me explain. On one hand, you have a Web3 that which goal is to solve real world problems. And by real world problems, at the moment, I'm talking about exchange of value, so giving everyone in the world equal access to financial tools. And by that, to give you even more context, I mean, and I say this like a lot, but for example, people in the US or in Europe don't really understand where in some countries, or actually like in the biggest part of India, don't understand that in some country the banking system is completely ruined, right? So there is no stability, there is no banks. Think about Palestine. If you try to send money to your friends in Palestine, for example, it's almost impossible. And the reason is that there is no bank ready to receive your money. Or recently, what happened, I think really in India, right, Siva, a big data center burned out, wiping out 40K identities. And it is like you wake up in the morning and you're not Siva anymore for anyone. Or I wake up in the morning, I'm not Vitto anymore because my identity is not stored anymore in a database. The blockchain here and Web3 can solve this problem with decentralized digital identities. So on this end, I won't go too in depth now with this question on what are decentralized digital identities, or how we're actually solving the problem of financial globalized financial toolings. But the thing is, Web3 as building products, as solving problems, is first of all geographic based. So every different country in the world have different like web use cases for Web3. But one thing that is globalized is that it removes these like trust organizations such as banks and governments that a lot of the times are completely corrupted or do not work or non-existent, and so open a ton of possibilities not only for developers but for the world population as well. On the other hand, you have cryptos. And okay, it's true that we're coming from the 2021 bubble where and the 2022 bubble. So for the biggest part of being like an immense a shit show, right? Can we say shit show? So you have a lot of rugs and a lot of like the ICOs, like the rugs during the ICOs run, and a lot of people have been traumatized by all these things. So at the moment, cryptos have been again a shit show, but ultimately what they will become is just like stocks, right? So you have a product and you have stocks, and you can buy stocks of that product. And if the stocks are non-regulated but have any kind of reflection on the actual value of the company, then the more the company grows, the more the stocks will grow. And I'm saying an actual reflection on the actual value because it can be inflated by a lot because of a bunch of different market conditions. But that's what cryptos will be on one hand, so stocks, and on the other hand are a way for people to again bring the same financial tools to the entire world. Let me bring you this example. Venezuela 2022, highest inflation rate ever, 74.7% inflation rate. That means that for every 100 pesos you have in your bank every year, you lose 74.7 pesos. That is insane. So what the Venezuelan population started doing is they started saving money in the US dollar. Now, for those that have a standard, economic education, this is a big. You already know that is a big problem. For those that doesn't, well, let me tell you that if you start buying your currency with another currency from another country on a consistent basis, and all of your friends start doing it, and all of the friends of your friends start doing it, so 70% of the population starts doing it, your currency will soon be completely devaluated because you're removing all the value from that currency, bringing this value in the other currency. And I'm simplifying this like to the end power, honestly, but you get the reason. So the government was like, yo, you're devaluating our currency by doing that, so we will put a limit on the amount that of US dollar you can buy every month. And that limit was $100. Now, think if you can save just $100 a month, no more than that, right? And of course, for some countries, that's a lot. But let's talk about the equivalent of $100 for a U.S. citizen, where prices are very high, or Venezuelan citizen, where of course prices are decently high. And so $100 weren't enough. What the population started doing, because they couldn't save in US dollar, is saving in USDC. So US dollar crypto, right? And the thing is that saved their finances. They now have enough money and they can use like cryptos to buy and sell goods and store their money against, of course, inflationary currency, but at the moment, the strongest currency in the world. Game changer. So that's for the crypto part. NFTs part, my friend, I don't really know what to say. I mean, again, it's been a crazy shit show in the last year. Most of the use cases of NFTs aren't really utilitaristic, but it's more, a lot of weird things. The cool use cases I can tell are definitely giving money to making artists able to monetize their art. Super cool, super important. I was an artist myself, not super easy to monetize your art, so very, very important. On the other hand, I think there is a huge amount of opportunities that we have that are untapped at the moment. Ticketing systems that actually work, or like contracts, or buying a house, or again, decentralized digital identities. Identity is a non-fungible token, and it's also like soul-bound, so it's non-transferable. So a lot of things that we will start to see in the next months, years, that will bring NFTs to a whole different level, to a whole different plane of this equation of utilities in Web3. Um, Another thing I would say, yeah, no, more or less, that's the thing. There is a lot that we could tell here, but yeah, to answer your question, that's my answer.
As Naval said, that's the beauty of Web3. For the first time, the data is not actually open. The data is literally living on the blockchain, but it's actually far secure than like Web3 companies can secure our data. Finally, who owns the platform underneath is the contributors instead of large corporations owning the platforms. Also, developers like this because the code is now open to everyone instead of being closed. Yes. Uh, Give
So
us a roadmap of how to become a Web3 developer.
my roadmap to become a Web3 developer.
Yes.
So quick answer to it is that's a question I receive a lot, and it's very interesting because it means there are a lot of people are joining the space. So a lot of people want to actually learn how to become Web3 developers. To answer this question once and for all, I actually wrote this post. So if you go on Google and write, I think Solidity developer roadmap, but also Web3 developer roadmap. Let me see. I'm checking right now. Yeah, the first result, incredibly, is this roadmap that I wrote back last year and updated this year, where there are a bunch of resources. But TLDR, there are many ways to learn web to become a Web3 developer. And let me start by saying that Web3 is a buzzword, right? As a developer, Web3 doesn't mean anything else than adding the blockchain in your tech stack. So that said, this means that most of the things you have to learn to become a Web3 developer are the same things that you need to learn to become a normal standard developer. So let's say you want to build full stack decentralized applications, then at that point you will probably need to understand what is a variable, what is a function, and how standard programming languages work. So you want to start by the fundamentals of CS. Then you probably want to understand how JavaScript, HTML, and CSS works because you want to build like the front end of your websites. And that's the same thing you would do building normal websites. Then you have two choices here. And I think there are two ways of thinking about it. There's one way that is you don't need to learn backend technologies because backend technologies, I mean, if you want to build a decentralized application, you want to use a database. And then there is this other way of thinking that is you need to learn backend technologies. Honestly, I think you need to learn backend technologies because even if you're building a decentralized application, there are trade-offs, right? There are situations where you actually need to use the blockchain and situations where you don't need to use the blockchain because it wouldn't really make sense. So you can just use a database. And let me give you a couple of examples. So let's say you want to store the cache data of your application, right? So things that have been, I don't know, images that have been queried over and over again and you don't want to every time fetch it wherever. Now, if you only use the blockchain, this would have a humongous cost because gas fees and because saving data to the blockchain has a cost. If you just want the cash, that would be like hundreds and hundreds of dollars in cash costs. On the other hand, you can simply save your cash on a very like on a free tier database on AWS, and that would do the job. The question you should ask yourself is, do I want this data to be easily publicly accessible to the users because this data should be owned by the users, such as like credentials or social graphs or create content they have published? Or I'm okay and the user would be okay to not have, for example, the cache of my application on the blockchain because they won't build another UI wrapper on it, right? So I would say learn backend because you want to at least have the ability and the knowledge to do the evaluation yourself and ask yourself the question, do I need to use the blockchain? I don't need to use the blockchain. Yes, I do. And to do that, you have to have knowledge about both worlds. On one hand, smart contracts, on the other hand, databases and backend and APIs. Once you have made this decision and you have learned potentially backend, and then at that point you want to get into the blockchain, right? So because that's the whole thing about this question. So you have choices. I would say mainly at the moment the choices are going through the EVM path, and by EVM is Ethereum virtual machine compatible blockchains, such as of course Ethereum, such as of course Polygon or Arbitrum or Optimism. And the commonality of all these blockchains is they all use, of course, the same compiler level, but Solidity as a programming language. Actually, YOL as a programming language that is wrapped around Solidity or Viper. There are ways to create code these smart contracts. So at that point, you want to learn Solidity for EVM. You want to learn Huff. You want to learn YOL. Alpha is a super cool programming language, by the way, that is used to optimize smart contracts. You want to use Hardhat, you want to learn how to Foundry, you want to learn out all of these things. And I think to learn all of these things at this point in time, there are plenty of good resources. One great resource that we have created now, because we want everyone to become Web3 developers, of course, is Alchemy University. That is a completely free learning platform. So, which features two bootcamps. One is the JavaScript bootcamp. So, even if you don't know how to program, you can take that JavaScript 101 fundamentals course. That is a bunch of lessons on an online IDE. So you code on your web browser, and it gives you the answers, and it walks you through this like exercise-based learning. Because of course, solving problems, so doing exercises is probably the best way to learn. And the second course is the Ethereum Bootcamp, that is a 7 weeks course that will teach you everything from how the blockchain works, what is cryptography, how to code in Solidity, how to deploy your smart contracts, how to test them, and so on and so forth. So at the end, you'll be jobbable, what I like to say, so you can start applying to companies and potentially find a job. And again, this is completely free. Historically, this company that was used to make these bootcamps was Chainshot, has been acquired by Alchemy in August, and the courses were priced at $3,000. Now they're completely free. The only thing that you have to do is to go on university.alchemy.com, fill up the early access form, and you will receive an email in the following days with the acceptance letter, and you get your early access NFT, and you can use the early access NFT to access Alchemy University once the gates will be opened. We're planning to open the gates big alpha pretty soon. We're having a session on Wednesday to announce when this will happen. So TLDR, if you're deciding to study for Ethereum compatible blockchains, Ethereum, Polygon, Optimism, and so on and so forth, you want to learn Solidity and RDET, Foundry, and so on. You can learn these things using Alchemy University, university.alchemy.com, or go online, and there are plenty of resources. Patrick Collins has the 32 hours course on YouTube that will teach you everything. And it's amazing, in my opinion. On the other hand, if you decide that you want to learn Solana, for example, now there the learning curve is a little bit steeper, I would say. And the reason is all because there aren't many resources still. So it's very similar to the Solidity situation 1 year back. But there are cool resources such as the Solana Cookbook, SolDev, SolPG, and so on and so forth. Their team is doing an amazing job at creating these resources. And the problem there, just because to create smart contracts, you sort of need to learn Rust. That is a low-level programming language that I love, honestly, but it comes with complexities, right? So you need to learn Rust, then learn a framework such as Anchor that is wrapper around Rust that helps you building the programs that are the Solana smart contracts. And then you need to learn a bunch of paradigm shifters of the Solana ecosystem, such as the account model, the transactions models, PDAs, and so on and so forth, that come with some complexities. So if you're very new to programming, I would say start with EVM compatible development because it's easier, there are more resources. If you feel a little bit more brave and a little bit more, I don't know, like sussy, I would say, go on to like Solana. That is an amazing chain. They just add Solana breakpoint and the community is thriving. Great TPS, transactions per second, way higher than Ethereum, and very low gas fees, like almost zero, I would say. But again, more difficult. Once you have done this thing, build projects, build projects, build projects, build projects, for God's sake, build projects, because it's the only way you have to actually make your learning long lasting, because you start solving problems, you start building your own things, you start thinking about actual use cases to apply your technologies, right, to your application, and impressing your learning once and for all. I would say that's the thing. But again, if you go on Google and write Web3 developer roadmap, the first result is this roadmap that not only says what I just told you, but also has the links to the resources.
Just to add that for Solana, BuildSpace has tied up with Solana to launch a bootcamp. I think it launched on 4th of November. It's a 6-week long bootcamp. You can use that for Solana purpose. Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, great. Yes, also our next question was on Alchemy University as itself. You cleared it pretty well. Okay. Like what your day-to-day life like at Alchemy as Devrel?
Oh, that's an amazing question. I would say there's a lot of things happening every day at Alchemy. So daily life is I work with Albert. That goes for with that guy on in tech on Twitter. So at that guy in tech, follow him. Is amazing. And what we do is we partially work with the education team, where we help launching Alchemy University, creating the community, fostering the community, making everyone like feeling like a home. Then we have a bunch of things, such as, of course, running workshops or like going to conferences and closing partnerships and understanding who we want to sponsor. It doesn't mean make sense sponsoring and so on and so forth. So it's more of a sponsorships and collaboration effort. Then there is exploration of the ecosystem. So going out there, testing products, understanding what's working on these products, what is not working on those products, connect with their teams, understand if there are like possibilities to collaborate with Alchemy. Why not? Any way where we can make life of developers easier. I would say the cool thing about Alchemy is that the product is so broad, right? So you have this node provider that is used by the biggest companies in the world, but Web3 companies in the world, like OpenSea, but also Meta. And if you go on our website, I always tend to not say all of our customers because some of them are like top secret, but like Shopify, Stripe, Adobe, Nifty Gateway, 0x, YTX are only some. So you have like the nodes that the big are using, and on the other end there are these APIs, and this is cool because it can be integrated in pretty much any Web3 project, right? Any project that actually needs connection to the blockchain. So find ways to educate people about these, and of course, learning a lot every day because you need to understand how Web3 development is working, right? So you need to keep yourself updated. So I would say there is a lot. DevRel as a job, DevRel as a career changes a lot based on the company. So Alchemy, for example, again, is all these things. So it's marketing, development, engineering, and community. So it's a lot. And traveling, that is super fun. It's a blast. On the other hand, if you go in other companies, more about, I don't know, marketing, is more about pure engineering, is more about writing documentation, is more about other things. But at the end of the day, the common things of the developer relation lifestyle is talking with a lot of developers, building a lot of projects, explaining a lot of things, and traveling a lot to meet the people in real life. That is probably the most important thing.
Can you tell us more about your education and how you transition from a non-tech background to tech background?
Oh, that's a great question. So let me see. When I started with internet with Word of no Neopets. Do you remember Neopets? So Neopets, maybe you're too young, but Neopets was to this flash game where the only thing that you had to do is collect, very similar to Pokemon, but you couldn't fight. Collect these small animals, and you had like a lot of mini games and things like that. So, and also you had the possibility to open your own shop where you could resell the things that you collected. And it was super cool because your shop inside the game was CSS friendly, so you could add like CSS to it. So I think that's when I started like understanding how to change the cursor on a page or add like a different background or change the color of words. And I was super young there. But I never continued in development until I think 2016. So what happened is at that point I decided that I wanted to become an artist. So I continued with the Academy of Fine Arts. I had a master in computer graphic and animation, and I was working as an environment artist. So 3D models, texturing, and so on and so forth in the movie industry. Then, of course, I had a career there. So I became VFX supervisor, and I started coding because there is this thing in 3D animation that is called rigging. That is the way that 3D bodies move, right? And how deformations of 3D bodies work. And so we needed tools to do this in a better way. And I started learning C++, like super low level programming language. And I started coding these digital animation tools. I continued for a couple of years, but the thing is, it's a lot of geometry, a lot of trigonometry, and you're not really considered like a tech person. So salary wise, it wasn't that advantageous for the amount of work that is super stressful that I had to do in the movie industry. So I was like, you know what, fuck it, and I resigned and I went back to the university, subscribed to the computer science. Sorry, let me say, when I did the Academy of Fine Arts, I dropped off, and then I subscribed to computer science in Scotland, and I did 1 year, and then I dropped off again because it was like, okay, no, I want to like explore other things, and this is super interesting. So I was like, okay, let me do my own thing. My parents were like, "You're crazy. You were working. No, you went to the Academy of Fine Arts and you dropped off because you wanted to work. You've been working for like 4 years, and now you're resigning because you want to back to study." And then I did 1 year at the university, and I dropped off because I wanted to go back to work. My parents were like, "Yo, decide what you want to do." But I sort of had a plan, and the plan was like, okay, I know that there are a lot of opportunities out there, and I want to explore them all. I might fail a lot of times, but I'm okay with failing. So, and I'm also okay with hustling a lot. So I wanted to work hard to reach certain goals, and that's simply what I started doing. So I dropped off from the university, and I started creating content on Twitter while building my own products. I joined Tech Twitter. That was an amazing place, of course. It was March last year. And I built my audience, and I started writing my content, and I started coding my products. And at a certain point, I started getting contacted by companies, right? Building your online presence as a developer is super freaking important and brings you a lot of opportunities. So I started doing that. And one day, Alchemy contacted me, and it was like, yo, I still have that message. It's super wholesome. And it was like, do you want to collaborate? I was like, yeah, sure. Let's open a call. And I don't remember, Siva, what happened in that call, but I ended up applying to Alchemy. Once I applied, I actually wrote a post on Twitter. I was like, yo, I've applied at Alchemy. And at that point, think how online presence is so strong, because Chainlink recruiters and Polygon recruiters saw my post. They wrote me a message and was like, do you want to apply to Polygon? Do you want to apply to Chainlink? So I applied to Polygon and Chainlink as well. And for 3 months, I went through something like 60 interviews. It was crazy sick, and were tech interviews and culture interviews and developer communication interviews, technical communication interviews. It was developer growth, marketing, everything. Luckily, because I had some experience as a VFX supervisor, so I almost knew what like recruiters want to hear, what companies need. It went really well with all of these interviews. It was the first time that went that well. Usually I got, of course, like everyone, I got refused a lot of time, rejected a lot of times, but it went great. So I got these three offers from these three companies, and ultimately I decided to join Alchemy because the vibes, the energy from the team, and the product, of course. And Alchemy went through this magnific raising last year that brought the total company value from half a billion to $10.2 billion in like 16 months. So it was sick completely. So I joined Alchemy, and yeah, here I am today, going to conferences and living my DevRel life.
Yeah, I also seen a video of yours like uploaded 10 years ago to how to introduce yourself. You are a real hustler.
Thank you. I mean, I guess, I don't know. I'm super curious as a person, and I think I don't wanna make hustle culture a thing, because I think everyone should live the life they want, right? Myself, I just like to explore. I was like a baby where I was like, oh, I wanna try working in the Silicon Valley, for example. I wanna see how the world is. I wanna travel. So I had these desires, and I was like, instead of working like waking up every day and working my daily job and going to my office and typing on a keyboard and then going back home, give a kiss to my wife and go to bed, that I think it's amazing. It's like an amazing thing, but it simply wasn't for me. I was like, okay, I wanna do these things. And if it turns out that you actually want to do something and you work every day to do that, 1 hour, 2 hours every day, whole day to do these things, you can do it even without rich parents.
Great, great. Yeah, last week we had a session with Vanchika Srivastava. She was a tech evangelist. She also mentioned you as like a role model, sort of.
Wait. What
Yep.
was the question? And also, I want to see the chat because I'm not seeing the chat. So I'll try. Do you have a link to the live session on YouTube?
Yep. Yep.
That's
There are
amazing.
three already on the stream.
Oh, I have it. Okay, wait. I have it now. Maybe you sent it to me before.
I will share
I know.
you right now.
Okay.
Okay, I will share in the comments. Yep. Basically, I don't know how these people came to this. This I not shared this in our group, any social media. Like there is hackathon going on, so that I better thought not to disturb them. But these three people came into the session.
That's amazing. Glad to see you here. I cannot see the questions though because probably I just joined. But what was the question, by the way?
Yo, I will repeat that. It's not a question; it's a compliment. Like last week, we had a session with Vansika Srivastava. Like she was a tech evangelist, and she is also a developer. She mentioned you as one of her role model to come into the Web3.
Wow, thank you so much. Just trying to do my best. Seriously, if you want to reach out and you have any kind of question or I can help you out in any way, just let me know. That's super good compliment. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, got a comment like I was browsing YouTube for Web3 when I saw this live stream. I joined it. There's a person.
That's amazing. Hey CJ, glad to have you here.
Great. You weren't born with a silver spoon, right? Definitely, you must went through a lot of ups and downs in your life. So tell us, what is your biggest failure and what you learned from that?
My biggest failure. So I have a big problem remembering my biggest failure because I love failure. No, like, it sounds super weird, but I feel like every time I fail a lot. Okay. I don't have a biggest failure, but I have a ton of different failures, I would say. I fail when I don't launch something properly. I fail when I don't promote or like create enough hype about product or like something that we're doing. I fail when I have a speech and I don't nail the messaging of the speech, so people are confused and have a lot of questions. I think one of my biggest fail might be um, all the projects that I've launched, but I never, sorry, I built, but I never published. But I don't feel like these are failures. I think everything that you do, even if it doesn't work, I have this way of saying, and I think Alchemy taught me that is try, don't ask for permission, ask for like mercy if something goes wrong. So anything can become a learning experience, anything can become something that you can learn from. um so one precisely, let me think. Nothing. Oh my god, nothing is. I think one that made me laugh because it was like completely avoidable. Where once I had a speech, and I completely forgot about that speech, and so I went into it feeling like, okay, I can do it. But then I actually realized that the things that I had to explain were super technical, and I didn't have any slide ready, so just winged it. But of course, in some cases, winging it works. In some cases, winging it doesn't work. Improvisation works, and some doesn't. And so a lot of like no one actually understood what I was explaining, and it was one of my first speeches. And what I learned out of there is that simply you gotta freaking prepare a little bit of your speeches. Um, but that's not a thing. I failed a lot in with people. I think my biggest learning are like failing with people, right? When you fail with a friend, when you fail maintaining a relationship, when you fail valuing the people that are around you. I failed as a teammate. That's a cool point. I think I failed as a teammate when I didn't make my coworkers feel valued or didn't show my thankfulness, my gratefulness to them for the work they're doing every day. Because at the end of the day, if my coworkers weren't there, I wouldn't be able to do my daily job because everything would be a mess and they cover a lot of the things I cannot cover. I failed when I didn't close like a relationship, right? Because it wasn't giving me what I needed at that time to progress with my professional life. So spending time focusing on things that didn't mean, so losing time. right? But even there, was that a failure? No, probably was like a natural. We This is our first time that we live, right? Or essentially, it's the first time that we remember of a life of the life that we're living. So everything that we do is a new thing. Every experience that we do is a new thing. Every failure that we do is a failure that we have to go through if we want to learn how to not fail in these things. And everyone has different failures because every human is different. So we have different flows. Our job is taking these failures and make these flows a strength because you actually learn from again your mistakes.
Fair enough. Like, tell me three names who have been most influential to you.
Wait, what was the question? Sorry.
Tell me three names who have been most influential to you.
Yes, 100%. Jason Shaw, product manager at Airbnb, and now product manager, sorry, at Alchemy. Wow, folks, wow. If you can go, I think it goes by 0x Shah on Twitter. It's insane. Talking about him, goosebumps, because like his clarity of thoughts, the way he explains things, the way he teaches us, and building better products or creating better roadmaps is incredible. Nader the Beat, definitely very good DevRel. Of course, everyone knows him and is doing an amazing job. Albert Hu, my DevRel coworker and life mate, I would say at this point, amazing person teaching me how to deal with the communities, how to grow communities. And I think these are free, but I could go on telling you 50 names that have a ton of influence over me in a way that is I learn from them every day and I follow them. And sometimes they follow me in the same way, so we teach each other. But these are all people that are teaching me every single day.
Excellent. Last week we had a session with Nader David.
Yeah, amazing. How did it go?
Yeah, it was excellent. Yeah, that was a great journey. Like he has not even have a CS degree, and he transitioned from a non-tech background to the director relationship of now AWE and Lens protocol. It's a great fit.
That's amazing to hear.
Yeah. What books are you reading right?
So right now, that's a great question. I just ordered a bunch of books before this call, and I'm reading. Let me tell you all the titles that I'm going through. So Token Economic, reading it for the fourth time. I think that is an amazing book. Then we have Proof of Stake. I think. Oh wait, let me get it. Let me get it. So we have that are coming right now. Token Economy, how the Web3 reinvents the internet from Shermin Foshmgir, that is an amazing engineer. She worked, I think, at Consensus and another couple of very big companies. And the book is amazing. Again, it's called Token Economy. Then there is the Internet of Money, volume 1, 2, and 3, that is from Andreas M. Antonopoulos, that is an investor and economist, amazing, called Internet of Money. Then Proof of Stake by Vitalik Buterin, that is the new book. I don't know why I'm reading it, but everyone spoke about it. So I think it's going to be super valuable, at least I hope. Then another one that I just finished is Growth Hacking from Eric Rice. That is an amazing book about fostering growth of products. And Developer Marketing Doesn't Exist, that is from let me see, Developer Marketing Doesn't Exist, that is from I will look for it and tell you because I don't remember and I'm not finding it on Amazon anymore. But it's like a super short book from a Twitter guy that is a DevRel and puts on paper a bunch of DevRel thoughts that I loved.
Could you just elaborate a little bit on your crypto and NFT portfolio?
No, I'm sorry. So that's a thing I don't talk about because I don't want to give any kind of financial advice. What I can tell you is generally I'm very safe investor. So no shit coins, no meme coins, nothing too crazy. And NFTs, I lost a bunch of money, never made money with NFTs. Yeah, no, I mean I made some money with NFTs, but not because I'm actually like a good investor. I would say I choose looking at the arts. Now I'm invested in like Critters, that is a pixel art from an artist that I love, but I lost a bunch of money, so don't follow absolutely my suggestion. Again, I play safe, mostly Ethereum, some Bitcoin, Polygon. I love Matic because I love their team and very good relationship, and I love, of course, their chain. Bought this morning some bank from Bankless because I wanted to join their DAO, and yeah, and Solana, of course, bullish on their ecosystem. Again, I treat cryptos as stocks. If I believe in the projects, then probably I will buy some of them. If it's just to make money, avoid that because it doesn't really work. You'll end up losing unless you spend your life looking at charts and doing technical analysis. You just end up losing a bunch of money.
Fair enough. I hope I covered everything, but if you are in my shoes, what question would you have asked yourself I didn't?
That's a good question. Let me tell you just one thing, that is the power of networking, that I think is super important, and a lot of people like tend to not see. But the thing is that, and it's very peculiar thing of Web3, that is the ecosystem is very, very small, and this gives you the possibility to create a very important network. And by important, I mean very big brains people that can teach you a lot, people that can open your opportunity yourself to big opportunities to work in the industry or land amazing jobs. Important, I mean, it can bring you a lot of money. The ROI is very high, but mostly meeting amazing individuals. So create your network, work on that. To create your network, you have tons of ways. You can send DMs to people on Twitter and try to foster a conversation and know them better. Invite them on a call. Join Discord communities, developer DAO, these DAOs that are doing an amazing job. Learn Web3 DAO, Alchemy University Discord, full of developers that are learning Web3 and want to build their products. And what will happen once you start joining all of these communities or participating into these spaces or joining these like kind of programs or hackathons is that you'll soon meet the CEO of Alchemy, the CEO of Aave, the CEO of Polygon, or people that anyway are recruiting developers. So instead of like looking for a job, looking for your future spot in Web3, by applying as we were used to do in Web 2, or we were used to do in the history, right? You go ask for a job, you pray, and it's like, oh my God, please give me the job, please don't reject me, right? Show off your capabilities, join hackathons like the one that you organized, create your portfolio, join these hackathons to get these bounties and start getting in touch with these companies. Build using technologies, why not, that are trendy. Like I met the Orb, that is a decentralized social network mobile application founder a couple of days ago, if not a week ago. And he's building his career because he's using Lens Protocol, and Lens Protocol is helping him, of course, a lot. The product is amazing. They have this amazing mobile hub, but of course, the Web3 community is great because they all amplifying this new tool because it's bringing solutions, right, to the Web3 ecosystem. So build products, create a network, show off your capabilities, of course, study a lot, and try to land your future job or compensations this way because it's the fastest way, probably, communities and products. Yeah.
Finally, thank you so much for doing this. It was a pleasure having you. We got a lot of answers. Uh, Thank you.
Of course. Thank you so much for inviting me. Again, if you want to shoot me a message and you don't know how to contact me, you can contact me on LinkedIn. It's Vitto Rivabella. You can contact me on Twitter, that is at VittoStack, or join the Discord server at Alchemy, and it's alchemy.com/Discord. And a lot of developers are there. We're always there answering questions, and you can meet other people from my team. Again, thank you so much. And from my understanding, the hackathon is heading towards the end. So good luck to all the participants. Nail it.